Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Lord Morskatar, leader of Clan Squire, has sent out his Hellion to deal with the Empire. So we have Legion commanding the Skaven, and we'll have Anticity on the Empire in this matchup today. And for these Skaven forces, we are going to be having a bunch of slaves, but this is going to be very much of a rush build on the Skaven side. It is going to have a Greyseer of Plague leading the forces. He's going to be bringing, he does have his Vermintide, he has Blessed with Filth, he has the dreaded 13th for that nice little Storm Vermin summon. He also does bring in the Warpstone Scroll to kind of just contend that air, since he doesn't have really any other tools to deal with it at all. There is no ranged units whatsoever, no Giselles, no Rattling Guns, or anything of the like. It is going to be Skaven Slaves, frontline, going to be backed up by the Viskrins, Death Squad here, the ROR Death Runners, who do have the Weeping Blades imbued with them, so that does reduce armor by 50% for 35 seconds, and they are, of course, bonus versus infantry armor piercing. We do have some more Death Runners mixed in as well. We have an Assassin going to be rolling in, looking to help with the characters, and there is Morkastar's Hellion, as I mentioned before, the Mutant Rat Ogre ROR, who does have the Zap in melee, going to be reducing the ability recharge, and he also does have the Warp Discharge, which does have a little vortex, a very short one at that, but it can help in that kind of melee grind. We do have a roaming band of Rat Ogres as well in that backline. We have Ishka's Triads as well, who, much like the Visktrin's Death Squad, does have that Weeping Blades, giving that reduction in armor. And they do have that Mirage, which can summon a copy of itself to kind of muck things up for the enemy and just kind of confuse them as well. There is Clan Vulcan's Tail Slashers for some fire damage. And otherwise, that is going to be it. It's a very straightforward rush. Now for the Empire, we do have some Pistoliers vanguarded up front. And in the rear, we do have some Knights of the Blazing Sun and a trio of Empire Knights going to be providing the mobility on the Empire side. And in the sky, there is going to be Boris Toddbringer on his Griffin, going to be having the Middenlang Runefang, so that's going to be giving him a nice little bit of regeneration. And there is going to be a Bright Wizard as well up on a Pegasus, going to be rocking Fireball and Burning Head to be roasting those pesky Skaven forces. Frontline is going to be some spears on the flanks, and in the center ranks it is going to be a pair of flagellants with the Sigmar Sons to protect the Huntsmen and the cannon in the back for some nice unbreakable. Going to be a lot harder to break through those, especially against the kind of low damage output of the Skaven. Should be able to hold that line and do a lot of damage in return. But that is going to be it for both sides. So let's get things rolling as the armies are going to be advancing. The Skaven going to be trying to get a little bound scorch in, going to try and catch these Pistoliers, but it's going to be able to pull that right on back as the rest of the forces do move forward. And a Fireball going to be going in on the Assassin. Assassin does pop his Concealment Bomb, but too late. The shot has already been cast, and he is going to take that right to the face, taking a nice bit of damage as well. But here is that dreaded 13th. Empire not quite giving enough space, and that dreaded 13th going to be going right in on top of that Great Cannon. The Storm Vermin with Halberds going to make quick work of that Great Cannon crew. I don't even know if those Great Cannons fired a single shot before they ended up shattering. So off the field so very, very quickly, as Skaven do kind of come out on top early on. But we do have some Skavens going to be breaking pretty early on, and that Greyseer has taken quite a bit of damage as well, as these Huntsmen are going to be teeing up on a very large target here, and more Fireballs going to be raining from the sky, landing in. The Warp Storm Scroll did go down on these two units, able to get some damage, and it's what they could do. They don't really have any other tools to deal with them, so Boris and that Bright Wizard going to be having some good times up in the sky, able to kind of do whatever they do want. Now the rest of the force is going to be engaging on this front line here. We do have the support of the Knights of the Blazing Sun, going to be mixing it up with these Rat Ogres, trying to trade pretty evenly right now, but that Assassin right now is just getting picked apart by that Bright Wizard up in the sky, just continuing to just get fireballed left, right, and center. And here is going to be a little summon of Clan Rats trying to get into these Huntsmen as the Storm Vermin are on their last legs, just trying to muck things up, but their summon does finally dissipate, and Boris is going to be diving right on top of that Assassin, going to be kicking him off the field. The Skaven Slave's going to be routing as well, hardly doing anything to those Sigmar Sons, and just as the Assassin gets kicked out. He tried to use his Rival Hide Talisman. He did get the Assassin Trophy off on Boris, but he does route ending that Rival Hide, which would have been a nice little reduction in melee attack in an AoE. However, he is going to be losing that charge there. Morkstar's Hellion just taking the shots from those Huntsmen, but otherwise cleaning up these Flagellants pretty well. The Sigmar Sun still going to be holding strong, but the backline is being compromised a bit by the Skaven. However, the Empire is still sitting very strong right now, particularly since Boris and that Bright Wizard have free reign to do whatever they want in this match right now. There isn't really a whole lot that the Skaven can do to contend them. We are going to be getting a little scorch, going to be going right through the Empire State troops here, and going to be clipping the edges of the Huntsmen as well, doing a little bit of nice damage there. And the Knights of the Blazing Sun do get routed off as Morgenstern's Hellion is into the fray, going to be making sure that they do get escorted off the match. But we have some Pistoliers and the Light coming back. Same with the Skaven. The Assassin does return, and we have the Death Runners all in that front. You can also see that we have the both the Viscerin's Death Squad and the Death Runners are in this mix here. So they're both giving that Weeping Blade in this area. It looks like we're going to be having there is that dreaded 13th right into the rear of these Empire Knights. Going to be coming in, routing off both of them, and just leaving the Sigmar Suns to kind of fend for themselves. So a lot of mobility getting peeled off from the Empire. And Morkstar's Hellion getting surrounded right now. Get a nice little charge in from the Empire Knights, and Boris Todbringer himself is going to be engaging as well with Morkstar's Hellion, and he's getting very, very low. And right now that is really the Skaven's best option to deal with Boris, as the Assassin is pretty much critically low and has just been taking shots from that Bright Wizard all game long. And the Morkstar's Hellion does get routed off, though Boris is going to be surrounded a bit by the Storm Vermin with Halberds. Going to want to be pulling out, wait out that summon for as long as he possibly can. Doesn't want to be engaging with those if he can avoid it. But we do have the Assassin returning to the fray, as is Morkstar's Hellion and some Rat Ogres as well. So some troops are going to be coming back. There is still Ishka's Triads here to really help contend with the Empire Knights, who are getting very low. But the Assassin able to dodge that one shot from the Fireball. He is just going to try and be dodging for the rest of the fight here. Not really a whole lot of good targets for him. Nothing that he can at least get his hands onto, as both that Bright Wizard and Boris is going to be staying nice and safe up in the sky. Balance power still pretty considerably in the Empire's favor, not by a whole lot. But yeah, at this point, like, you have Boris Todbringer. How is the Skaven going to deal with it? Because Morkstar's Hellion is so low, the Assassin is low, Greyseer sure as hell isn't going to be able to do it. But Morkstar's Hellion going to be diving right into the Knights of the Blazing Sun, routing them off of the charge, and the Empire Knights do get terrified as well, and Boris is going to be dropping in, trying to get attacked, but the attack animation from Morkstar's Hellion does pull him out of the fire range, though he is going to be wavering here, and he does rout once again, and he is very, very low on health. He has 463 HP left, just slivers, and Boris is still pretty much at full at this point. Clan Vulcans are alive and well. Bright Wizard doing pretty good on top of that. There's not a whole lot left in the fight for the Skaven. Even the Greyseer getting quite low. He does pop the Unholy Clamor, giving plus 16 leadership, and he has the Blessed with Filth, poisoning all these units around him. These Empire Knights do end up getting shattered, and Boris Todbringer just continuing to cycle in and out, getting some nice hits off. He is going to be, I believe, as the Weeping Blades on him from, I believe, the Ishka's Triads or the Viscerin's Death Squad, and the Assassin trying to catch up to him, but Boris will take off and fly into the sky, once again out of the reach of that Assassin. And Bright Wizard looking to finish off the Assassin with a Fireball, arcing its way on in, and down goes the Assassin. One more tool that the Skaven have is now off the field, and Boris should be feeling pretty confident with what is left. There is still a few Skaven troops on the periphery. They do have more infantry left, but Boris is just going to be so hard for the Skaven to deal with, as Boris trying to finish off the Greyseer, who is a little occupied right now. But Morkstar's Hellion, with as low as he is going to be coming in to duel Boris Todbringer, and Morkstar's Hellion only at 463, going to be trying to duke it out with the Griffin. And I do not like his chances. He does use his discharge, but against Boris, ain't going to be doing a whole lot there. The rest of the Empire troops, though, are getting beaten down pretty heavily, and Morkastar's Hellion is still alive and well, hasn't been even hit once yet by Boris, and he's already taken Boris down to half health in at the time he's engaging, and he is continuing to land hits left and right and taking none in return. These spears trying to come in to assist in some way or form, but finally Boris lands a hit, but it is too late as Boris does get shattered off the field. Morkastar's Hellion going in deep in the late game, finishing off what previously had no counter on the field to really deal with them, and the Skaven do take the fight. Somehow, Boris Todbringer could not finish off that Morkastar's Hellion. And Morkastar's Hellion, let's take a quick little look. That is this last one here. Going to end up racking up over almost 2k in value. So very close. I mean, Boris, all he had to do was land one hit early on, and that Morkastar's Hellion probably would have routed and shattered. That would have been his third time routing. But yeah, the luck of the draw was not on Anticity's side in that late game, as Boris just unable to land a single hit, and the Skaven do finally take it. If we look at the rest of the fight here, the Gracier doing some decent work with those Dreaded 13s, lots of summons on the field. Unfortunately, the Assassin didn't even get a single attack in throughout the entire fight. That Bright Wizard was able to pretty much hard counter him up in the sky, with the Skaven bringing absolutely zero tools to deal with him. They had that Warp Storm Scroll, but that was it. They just weren't able to do any DPS. I mean, probably would have been a good idea to bring something that could shoot into the sky. I know it was very much a rush build, but against a faction that can especially bring like Boris, Karl, or something like that, I think you need to have something, slingers at the very least, that can at least poke into the sky and at least keep them from having free reign. The rest of the troops for the Empire, Flagellants doing all right. Sigmar's Sons, despite pretty much holding that line, they just really weren't able to get a whole lot of value. However, the Huntsman on the other side, 1,700 on that one, 500 on that one, able to do a ton of damage to that Gracier and as well as Morkastar's Hellion, who I know they were shooting at through a lot of that fight. But the mobility for the Empire really just wasn't able to do a whole lot, about 500 between the three of them. Pistoliers did pretty good work. The Great Cannons only got a few shots in, but they still were able to get almost 500 value from just those couple of shots. But that early Dreaded 13th quickly made sure that that cannon would sing no more. Now for the rest of the troops on the Skaven side, the Rat Ogres doing some very good work actually, much better than the Empire's mobility, really able to carry their weight and then some. And the rest of the front line, the heavy hitters for the infantry department would have been the Death Runners and Ishka's Triads. The Visktrin's Death Squad did all right. But otherwise, yeah, it was really the Morkastar's Hellion in that late game, which really allowed the Skaven to even have a chance, because, I mean, I wouldn't, if we did that duel probably 100 times, I bet you Boris would win that 99 of those times. All he had to do was get a single hit, but that Morkastar's Hellion was sitting at like 463 health through the entire duel. Only at the very end did he take a hit from Boris, and Boris did end up routing immediately after that hit. But that was very unfortunate for the Empire there. Skaven do pull out, and that is going to be all I have for you today. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good one.